Hey cousins, happy Tuesday. Welcome to another episode of Respectfully Except. It's a special edition. Every time I do a Q&A on Instagram, you guys send in so many questions that I wish that I could get to, but I only have so much capacity on that Instagram story chat. But why not take an episode of Respectfully to sit here and answer some live Q&A questions for you guys? So y'all know the vibes. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, give us 5 stars and let's get right into it. So, Mr. Rodriguez, go ahead and pull up those questions. And also, just to set the tone, fair warning, y'all, I am as blind as a bat. So, and I didn't know we were doing a Q&A today, so I did not bring my glasses. So if y'all see me squinting and leaning all in, do not judge me, okay?
We ain't judging.
Mr. Rodriguez, you make that full?
Yes. Let me flip that over for you. Got to get them glasses next time.
I know, right? I'm so blind.
Here we go.
One of these days I'm going to get LASIK surgery. I'm just terrified and I have to like mentally prepare for for LASIK eye surgery before I ever try to do it. But first question. Okay, shout out to Roxdar Murray. So, you think Trump made the right move in Minnesota? You see it as a W. We've learned that he's always 2 steps ahead. Absolutely a W. Let me tell you this. If there is one thing that is going on in our country right now that I am just fully standing behind, it is ICE. Shout out to ICE. We love ICE, okay? Because we have so many illegal immigrants in this country. It's actually insane. I think people severely underestimate how many illegals we have that are just frequenting all the brothels of our country. We have over 20 million of them that have broken into our country and they are staying here with these anchor babies. Now, for perspective, the black population is like 40 million. So if you cut that in half, that's roughly how we have almost more than that in illegal immigrants. So it's really getting out of control. So him going ham right now, absolutely, it's great. And the gag is, ICE is not just in Minneapolis. Shout out to Brylan Hollahan. He actually said this in a debate with Harry Sisson. I believe that was either today or last night, where he was talking about ICE is in all 50 states getting these illegals out of our country and sending them backity back home. So the fact that all this is going on in Minnesota, it makes you then wonder why is there so many scandals, or why are there so many scandals happening in Minnesota? That says a lot more about their state and their local government than it does about ICE, because you're not seeing ICE have all those problems everywhere else in the country. Even in Los Angeles, ICE isn't having these really chaotic, rambunctious run-ins that they're having over in Minnesota. But as we saw from the great work of Nick Shirley, there's just an exceptional amount of fraud, and these Somalis are just going crazy over in Minnesota. So yeah, I think we are doing the right thing by getting them out of our country. And if you go on the deep dives of just how much fraud is happening and how they are taking billions of dollars over to Somalia, that's insane. That is absolutely insane. So yes, I 100% stand behind everything that Trump is doing with ICE right now. And I feel like if you are against that, that is more just you don't understand how to keep a country afloat. I actually just had one of my really close childhood friends who, I'm not going to put her on blast for the fact that I know that her family's full of illegals. She's lucky I didn't call ICE on her. No shade. But she like went off on me about how she's tried to support me and she's defended me to our friends from back home and all of this, but that I've just become so heartless when it comes to immigration and that I demonize immigrants. No, I don't demonize all immigrants. I demonize the criminals that come here. And then they'll try to push back on you and be like, oh, being an illegal immigrant doesn't make you a criminal. Being illegal in our country, whether you swam here, were illegally born here, whether you hopped the border, whether you were smuggled here, even if you hopped on a plane. If you are in our country illegally and you remain here, that is a crime. Committing crime makes you a criminal. Therefore, I am anti you. Okay? And we could have a much smoother, easier immigration process if we weren't dealing with so many people who broke into our country. And this narrative that they're out there saying like, oh, ICE is killing all these people. No, they're not. No, they're not. It's few and far between. And that is only happening when people are FAFOing, if you know what I mean. And it's just so funny when you hear the kidnapping allegations. It's like, y'all don't want me to go there about October 7th, the real kidnappings that happen in the world that y'all don't want to clock. But when they want to sit here and be like, oh, we're kidnapping these people and deporting them. Since when did kidnappers start sending you back to the place you came from? You broke into our country and now we are giving you a one-way ticket back home to make it a round trip on your behalf. So you should be thanking us, sending us thank you notes for the free flight, if anything. But that's all I got to say about that. So yes, I do think that our president is 10 steps ahead, and I'm very happy with what's happening in Minnesota. Next question. Oh, wait, Mr. Rodriguez, you are so messy.
Look, if we're gonna do it, we're gonna go live. We got to do it right. We want to help, the people coming in with questions. They had a question about this, and you know,
All I saw is Emily in Qatar. Now y'all know she's gonna whoop me. Oh my gosh, she is gonna jump me. She knows where I get my coffee in the morning. She will jump me for this question. I am so sorry to ask, and you may not respond, but your good friend Emily Saves America had a paid holiday in Qatar. Do you talk about these things, or would you rather keep the friendship safe? How do you navigate this? First of all, I mind my business. We of course talked about it. She did not get paid to go there, but if you have questions for her about the Qatar trip, I highly encourage you to go ask her because she is more than happy to tell you that she had an opportunity to go, so she went. I obviously have my feelings about it. She knows exactly how I feel about it, just like everybody on that trip knows how I feel about it. So beyond that, I mind my business. If you want to take a trip to Afghanistan, then you're going to take that trip to Afghanistan. But as far as Xavier DuRousseau, unless I can grill people with the questions that really need to be asked, then I don't really have a desire to go, which is pretty much why they kicked me off of the trip over to Qatar because I was supposed to go there and ask some, very spicy questions, and they weren't ready for the heat of the questions I was going to ask. And that's all I have to say about that. hmm Next question. Oh, pull that one up. Can you full screen that, Mr. Rodriguez?
pulling it up for you now.
Y'all are so messy. Not y'all already getting into the tea.
Look, they came in hot today. That's all I have to
Y'all
say.
came in hot. That was crazy. But I mean, yeah, like my friends, we talk about it. And the thing is, too, you have to remember, it's like when you're a political media personality, commentator, influencer, whatever it is that you want to call us, like politics is so 24/7 our lives. When I hang out with my friends that are in this space, unless we are working together on something, we're more often than not we're not talking about politics. And it's like we have disagreements. There's things that all of my friends that you guys know I'm friends with in the industry, like there's things that we disagree on, and that's okay. So we don't sit there and bicker about it. We'll challenge each other's ideas, but I respect people are going to do what they need to do. So this next question, shout out to Cole Dunstan. What is one way or a belief that you still hold that would be classified as liberal or left leaning in this political landscape of if any? One thing that's a good question. I get that question a lot. There's definitely a handful of things that I still agree with when it comes to, liberals or the left. And there are things that aren't necessarily against what the right says on it. It's just I have more nuance on it. For example, something that I'm really passionate about that is considered a more left-leaning liberal thing and the general consensus of the discussion is like environmentalism. I'm actually very pro keeping our environment clean. I'm very adamant about, clean soil, clean air, clean water, all of that kind of stuff. And until the Make America Healthy Again movement started getting really, popping off, I feel like that was considered something like you were just considered a tree hugger. But shout out to ACC, American Conservation Coalition. They do incredible work of trying to rebrand environmentalism and making it something that is considered a conservative value. Because if you think of the people that are really out in nature, the people who are hiking and snowboarding and skiing and hunting and fishing, these people are conservative. You are not going to find that many liberals that are out there actually in nature, camping and doing all of that. Unless they're like the more hippie type, you are going to see predominantly conservatives that are out enjoying nature. So I do think that we should be having more conversations about how to preserve and keep our environment clean on the conservative side of the aisle. Head to PragerU.com. We actually have a lot of content about just like the conservative perspective of environmentalism. But beyond that, like socially, there are some things that I'm just more like classically liberal on in the sense that like not full-blown libertarian, but I'm just like if it doesn't harm anyone, and I mean anyone, doesn't harm anyone truly, then might as well keep it legal. I'm not that way with most drugs though. I feel like and that's why I don't like the libertarian crowd too much because I think y'all want too many things to be allowed. Like I don't need more crackheads. I don't need prostitutes leaving the brothels. I don't need anything like that. So, but on some of the more basic like socially liberal things. It's like, okay, I tolerate it at bare minimum. So, next question. What is one way or a belief? Oh, wait, that's the same one. Oh, and also one other thing that I would say might sound more liberal is that I do think conservatives need to be a bit more empathetic. I feel like sometimes conservatives are so laying the hammer down because they're fed up that they don't actually take the extra energy to try to figure out how the other side feels about things. I feel like the left is I really respect that the left is so empathetic. I just think that they take it too far and them trying to help the people that they view as victims, they inherently end up or unintentionally end up harming them. Do you believe with or do you believe with our political climate? Okay, my bad. Do you believe with our political climate in our country that things have to get worse before it gets better to equalize the country? I hate that premise, but it's kind of true. The thing is our country has gotten too privileged. I don't think it's the same in other nations because other nations, especially if they have an Eastern perspective of the world, they don't like to FAFO. They have found out many of times throughout history. But because we're such a new country and a country that became so free and so liberal and so progressive so early and so quickly and drastically, people have really underestimated the price of freedom. So what ends up happening is you end up in this situation where basically you have people that until they are smacked in the face, they have no idea how good they have it or how bad things are about to get. So unfortunately, you have to have those wake up calls. When were people in America the most patriotic they had been in at least a century? After 9/11? When did Jewish people start becoming so proud to be Jewish? After October 7th? So it's like it takes sometimes a disaster for people to be more grateful. You even see that play out in our elections. I mean, President Trump in 2016 through 2020, he wasn't nearly as popular as he became in this presidency because 2020 to 2024, people were fighting for their lives and for sure fighting to keep their businesses afloat under Joe Biden. So it's like things had to get worse in order for people to get grateful, and appreciative of what we had. It's like, what's the old saying? It's like, you don't understand what you had until you lose it. You had it and you didn't keep it, is what ended up happening. And I feel like New York City is going to end up in that situation too. It's like you have a Muslim socialist who is anti-capitalism running the global city, the beacon of capitalism, into the ground. You are going to see New York City the worst it's ever been. And I think that after Mamdani is done, if people are able to wise up and learn their lesson, and if the city isn't taken over by illegals and Muslims, then all tea, all shade, all offense. I think that people are going to wake up after that, and then they're going to start, putting people into positions that actually make sense for the position. So yeah, it's true. Next question.
Moving on to our next question. We got this one.
Do you ever want to move out of California and to more of a conservative state like Tennessee or Florida? I'm not opposed, but I really like California. Hot take. So here's the thing about, living in Los Angeles in particular. If anything, I could see myself most likely in like Orange County area or maybe San Diego. I've only been to San Diego once, but I really loved it when I was there. But Orange County, I love Orange County. It's basically a lot of the same luxuries as Los Angeles, except you have freedom. And you have mayors that are actually smart and logical and actually want the city to be better instead of worse. If things keep getting worse in California, it may get to a point where I have to go. But right now, it's like I love where I'm at. I love living in the area of Los Angeles that I do. I don't go to certain parts of the city, so I stay within my handful of regions. And I feel like I meet so many conservatives. I meet so many people that are against the woke stuff, especially in the entertainment industry. You can't beat the weather and stuff like that. So I'm not opposed. If anything, I could see myself buying property in those states and splitting time. But I really am spoiled when it comes to the weather. I have met so many incredible people. And I don't want to leave. I really don't. I know that's a hot take. And also I feel a sense of responsibility. There's only a handful of us in Los Angeles that are vocal conservatives and vocal about the fact that things need to change. And right now I'm really excited about the potential of change in our country or in our state and in our city because so many people are frustrated when it comes to the homeless crisis, all the fraud that's getting exposed, the Palisades fires, all these different things. I'm having more conversations every single day with people in LA LA. And believe it or not, LA is actually my most popular city when I look at my demographics and analytics. So it tells me that there is still, potential, and it is still worth fighting for Los Angeles and fighting for California. So I don't want to give up on this city or this state. I think it's a long shot, but I do think it's savable. I think there are cities that are too cooked to save. Like I think San Francisco, too cooked. San Francisco is cooked for eternity. I think Portland is cooked for eternity. I do think Los Angeles is going to be worth saving because it's gotten so bad that things are going to turn around eventually. Next question. Hi, Mr. Xavier. Firstly, I want to say love your videos, especially the walk with me. Shout out to you, a real one, for that. Those are the best. Secondly, what do you think about the protests throughout the country? Why don't we see arrests if people are breaking the law or even threatening law enforcement? You're asking a $1 million question. So first of all, what I think of the protests, I think the protests are so lame, forced, fake, and gay. I think everything about the protests is so fraudulent. It's like, first of all, you have so many people that are paid protesters. It is a full-time job with benefits to be a full-time protester. There are so many people that I will see throughout Los Angeles that they refuse to do interviews because their contract doesn't allow them to, or if you trigger them enough. I saw there was this one video where Laura Ingraham, shout out to her from Fox News, she was asking, like, basically someone yelled at him, or I forgot if it was a guy or a girl, but they yelled at the person that was protesting. It was like, get a job and like to go make some money. And they're like, I'm making money right now. And it's like, so you agree. So you're spilling your own tea. So a lot of them, all that to say, a lot of these protests are not organic. And I think that what it is you have a lot of people who mean well. And this is what I was saying earlier, that the left is really good when it comes to empathy, but they take it too far. You have a lot of these people who think that they are fighting for something groundbreaking. They are. Oh, sorry, saw a shady comment. Don't come for me in my live. I'll block you, child. So, so you have these people who think that they're doing something groundbreaking. They think that they're helping people. They think that they're making society better. But really, all they're doing is they're going and protesting things that they don't know anything about. An example I will give until the end of time, because it was so baffling to me, is what was this, like maybe 2 years ago now, beginning of 2024, when all of the encampments were happening at UCLA, Columbia, etc. Cam Higby and I, a journalist, a good friend of PragerU, we went over to the encampment, and we went in disguise. I wore the tackiest outfit I possibly could find, so I could fit in. We went and bought the same wristbands from Staples that they were using in order to get into the encampment, and we just walked right in. Now, what blew my mind, while Cam was getting dragged by his scalp by a bunch of the people who had caught him, I was still under disguise. And if this is like the encampment, and right here is like the plywood fence that they were, pulling apart, on the other side of that fence was a peaceful Zionist counter protest where they were playing clips from October 7th. And I went over to see what these like underclassmen misfits. And that's another thing. A lot of these kids, like these protesters, they're just 19, 18-year-old misfits that don't have a sense of community. So they are trying their best to like feel like they're doing something great and powerful for the world. Everybody wants to be the new age Harriet Tubman. But they're watching the clips and they're sitting there being like, I can't believe these Zionists and their audacity. They're bragging about what they're doing to the Gazans. And then they look at me and they're like, do you know? And I asked them, I was like, what is that? They're like, we don't know. Do you know? And I looked and I was like, those are clips from October 7th. None of these kids that have been in that encampment for 2 weeks even knew what October 7th was, but they're sitting here protesting against Israel. So all that to say, these people don't know what it is that they're talking about. And if they do, they're more often than not just a grifter. And it's all just to try to make it seem like it's a popular narrative to be anti-Trump, because the left is getting really scared of how many people are moving over to the right and breaking away from the left-wing chains. Now, the other part of this question, why don't we see arrests if people are breaking the law or even threatening the law enforcement? Because law enforcement has their hands tied. You can talk to pretty much any law enforcement officer that's out there, and they will tell you, especially if they live, or particularly if they live in a left-wing city, their hands are completely tied. They're not allowed to do anything. If they like, I had a buddy that called one of the people he was arresting that was like biting him, spitting on him, kicking him. He called him, I don't want to curse on PragerU platform, but he called him a dip, you know, as the guy was literally fighting him and he was arresting him. He got fired for that. So these law enforcement officers are basically told, you are not allowed to do your job because if we have too many scandals, God forbid if you're arresting somebody black and they try to say that something happened, then they're just going to have to defund you and they're going to have to fire you. They're going to have to defund your department. They're going to do all this stuff to you. There's so much backlash every single time that law enforcement tries to do their job. So it's at the point now where it's like they just have to let these people be the rogue, wild people that they are, because what are you going to do? Take them to jail for 5 hours, waste tax dollars, and then they get out cash bail free? It's like our entire law enforcement system is screwed now because of liberalism and these leftist progressive ideas and policies. We really need to start cracking down on these district attorneys. They're the ones that are really ruining these cities. I'm not even kidding about that. I have a mini documentary about that on PragerU.com called Their Lives Mattered, where we explored the fact that these woke progressive district attorneys who are supposed to uphold the law, they're the ones that are making it so these criminals stay on the street so much. And as a black man, it really makes me mad because the main reason that you have this stereotype that all these black people are murderers and criminals is because you have 1 small% of the black community that is continuously committing crimes over and over and over again. If we kept them in the cold Diddy jail cells that they should be in, you wouldn't have to deal with that issue anymore. And you guys would see that the majority of black people are relatively unproblematic. We need to keep the criminals behind bars, but the district attorneys, they don't want that. They want chaos because the more chaos, the more money they get. Just like the more homeless people out there, the more money California gets for it. It's a $24 billion fraud. Lord knows how much they're making on pretending to fight crime, but it's always more profitable to pretend to be fighting an issue than to actually find a solution. Next question.
We got a super chat from.
I can't hear you, Mr. Rodriguez.
Can you hear me at all? How about now?
I can't hear you, but I don't know if they can.
They can hear me. So just really quick, we got a super chat from Jake. So thank you, Jake. And we also got a super chat from John the Legend. Thank you so much.
Mr. Rodriguez, can you test your mic? I can't hear you.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
I can
hear me
only
now?
Okay,
Good,
I
sir?
can hear you now.
Perfect. There we go. I was just informing you that we got 2 super chats from awesome subscribers that came on in. John
you.
Legend always comes on in. He's always bringing in some great comments, and he just left a emoji with shades on. So,
I know
John,
that's right. Shout out to
thank
John
you.
Legend.
That's right.
The only John Legend I stan. Shout out to you, John Legend. You're a real one. You're always here. You're one of my favorite cousins.
And we got another question coming up right now.
Can you full screen?
Full screen in this.
And just a reminder, y'all, I'm blind as a bat, so don't judge me as I'm squinting. What are your favorite books and movies? Honestly, I want recommendations for conservative-friendly fiction media, and I want to know who you are as a person more. Oh, very sweet question. So to be honest, I don't read any fiction books anymore. I haven't read a fiction book in probably 15 years. When I read, I like self-help books. I like business books, mindset books, political books, history books. PragerU actually just put out a book that I'm about to start this weekend, actually, about it's like the real history of all the presidents. So I'm going to dive into that, get that on PragerU.com. But some of my favorite books that I have read recently, one of the ones I always recommend to people, Mr. Rodriguez doesn't like this book. I will preface that. But I love the book 48 Laws of Power. I feel like 48 Laws of Power will teach you so much about society and the world. It doesn't teach you how to be a good person, doesn't teach you how to be a bad person. It just tells you quite objectively just how power works. And I feel like that book is such an important book to read when it comes to understanding the psychology of power dynamics when it comes to business, relationships, romantic relationships, networking, etc. It is a book that really changed the game and really catapulted my career in a lot of different ways once I understood, how to navigate certain people more. Another book that I read recently that I love to recommend is this was like about a year and a half ago. I read a book called Blood Money by Peter Schweizer. That book is incredible. It talks about just how China is always at the scene of the crime. It talks about how we are essentially in this secret war with China where no bullets are being fired, but between the pandemic, between the TikTok algorithm, all the drugs that are coming from the Mexican cartels that are really coming from China, this whole strategy of death by a borrowed knife. It talks about all of that. It also talks about the bots and the way that the division in 2020 wasn't nearly as bad as people thought it was, but we were all convinced that it was because of social media and the bots that were being sent from China. I actually just met somebody that like their job used to be to do that, to send the bots out. It's crazy. And they have like turned a new leaf, but I'm not going to put that person on blast, but I could. Um, but yeah, I really liked reading Blood Money. Another book I read recently, um, what was one? Or I just read Ben Shapiro's book, which was How to Destroy America in 3 Easy Steps. And it's so funny how that one is just aging like wine. Some other ones when it's like the self-help stuff, if you're into that, I really love John C. Maxwell. I love his book No Limits. I also love his book Intentional Living. I should just like post a photo of my library. Oh, I also started getting into some classics. Like I just read, I'm actually ashamed that I just read my first Thomas Sowell book like 5 months ago. But I read Social Justice and Economic Fallacies. That was a really good book. So yeah, I'm getting into all like the conservative classics, the iconic books. I'm actually going to read The Art of War as well soon because I really want to get into the mindset of China, and that's like the playbook that China uses as they're destroying our entire country. So I like to be ahead on that. Now, when it comes to movies, I am so bad with movies. Music, I got you all day, but movies, I'm an uncultured swine. I have to admit it. I'm low key an uncultured swine when it comes to movies. I couldn't tell you what direction to go in because like everybody was gagged that Sinners got so many Oscar nominations. I'm like, am I the only one who thought it was that good? So it's like, don't ask me when it comes to movies. I'm tasteless. I'm so sorry. But I would say my favorite movies ever. My humor is so broken, but I love Norbit, which is so unserious because you know where Eddie Murphy was dressed as the fat black woman Rasputia, and she was like, Norbit, how you doing? You know, that movie makes me so happy every time. I love some of the Tyler Perry classics, the ones that aren't too woke. I love Diary of a Mad Black Woman. I love a lot of the black classics. I love Friday. I am so ethnic when it comes to movies. So y'all tell me what movies I need to watch. How about that? Next question.
Look, I got to interject here.
Yeah.
I am just so stunned that with that list of books you said, the Bible wasn't on there at all. Could you believe that too? And Xavier's got a nice, pretty Bible too.
Mr. Rodriguez, of course,
Crazy.
the Bible is in a category of its own.
Yeah, you're right. You're
The
right.
Bible is in a category of its don't play with me because a lot of people will hang out with me and they really underestimate that. I'll start preaching to you. Don't think I won't. Don't think I won't.
Yeah.
So my Bible is not dusty, Mr. Rodriguez.
No, that's
Don't do
good.
me.
I'm glad to hear. And another thing, just on the movies, Country Will back here said, okay, in terms of movies, you got to get into The Lord of the Rings, he said.
I've never watched The Lord of the Rings. Is that crazy?
Wow.
That's a crime.
I've never watched The Lord of the Rings. I've never sat through a full Harry Potter movie. I've never watched any of the Star Wars. I've never watched any of the Star Treks. I've never watched Avatar. I have not watched majority of superhero movies. I don't do a lot of movies. I know that's crazy. I used to watch exclusively black essential classics and horror movies, but I've come to the conclusion that horror movies are opening a dark window to your soul. So I
Amen.
had to reel back from horror movies because like they were starting to get to me low key, I feel like. So rebuking that in the name of Jesus. But yes, shout out to the Bible, both the testaments.
Come on, now we are talking. I can get behind that. Another question that you got was pretty funny that came in the live stream said, hey, Xavier, I applied for PragerU's HR position. Can you put in a good word for me, please?
No. No, please stop asking me for referrals. I hate it. Okay, one thing about me, I am the real deal. I don't care how long I've known you, how good of friends we are. Do not put me as your reference without permission, and don't just assume I'm going to refer you because we've had 1 or 2 or 1,000 positive interactions. If I don't know you like that, I am not referring you. I will never, and I've always been that way. I remember my job in high school. My very first job I ever had was at a nursing home, actually, which was crazy because I had a phobia of old people. Story for another day, or if y'all ask it later. But I was terrified of old people, but I got this job as a dietary aide. And one of my closest childhood friends, he had been one of my closest friends since we were in 2nd grade. He applied for the job and put me as a reference. That was like he put a curse on my name. And when the manager came up to me and was like, oh, so-and-so says that he's your friend. Like, what do you think of him? Should we hire him? I was like, absolutely not. And my boss, shout out to Sue. Sue looks at me. She goes, what? Really? I thought he says he's your good friend. He's known you for so many years. I was like, he has known me for so many years, and I know him. He's lazy. He's trifling. He's going to be late. He doesn't know how to keep a home, so I know he's not going to clean these floors right. He doesn't keep dietary standards to the par that we're going to need them here, and I'm not about to have that on my reputation. The amount of people that have told me that they were putting me as a reference when they applied to PragerU, and I straight up told HR, do not hire that person. I don't know them like that. They don't know me like that. And even if they did, if you are not going to come here and put your back into your work, I'm not giving you a reference. I mean, you might. Not be going in on this cousin. I don't know anything about you, child. But shout out to you. I hope I hope that your resume speaks for yourself. Just know I will not be speaking for you. So make sure that resume is speaking, child. And if you get the job here, come up and give me a high five and a handshake. Welcome to the team. But if you do not get the job, don't come for me. Our HR department runs a tight ship over here, so don't play. I'm so awful.
Valid.
Next question. I'm sitting here thinking, like, if that friend, because I know that friend watches the show sometimes, and to this day, I've never told him that I'm the reason he didn't get hired, and he's probably gonna come for me. It is what it is. I stand on it. He can't keep a job to this day. He probably is gonna apply to PragerU at some point. He can't keep a job. Favorite foods from Erewhon that aren't the smoothies? That's a great question. First of all, their breakfast sliders are amazing. They have incredible breakfast smash burgers. I had to slow down on those because those were also making my back big as a house. I often get a custom burrito from there. It's like a spinach tortilla wrap. You know, I got my eggs. They have some of the best bacon in the game. Great salsa, all that kind of stuff. Their buffalo cauliflower bites, everybody will tell you those are a hit every single time. I love their mighty greens. I love all the fish they have. Their Korean beef is great. Even though the last 2 times I got the Korean beef, it wasn't hitting the same. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe it's because I've been ordering from a different location. But the Korean beef is usually hitting. The garlic noodles, everything. The snacks, the food, everything. I love Erewhon. You literally can't go wrong with their hot bar. Their hot bar is always tea. And also, I can't eat tuna anymore. Long story, but
Wait, what's the hot bar?
the hot bar, it's like their deli basically, except it's like all food. You know, like when I don't know how your high school was, but like my high school had like a la carte line. So like every day they'll have like an assortment of hot foods that you can buy.
Oh, I wish.
So they'll have like different beef, different chicken, different soups, different fish. There's always a beef, a chicken, and a soup. Or there's always a beef, a chicken, a soup, and a fish option. And then you have a plethora of combination plates that you can make with all the different side dishes. So Erewhon food is so good. I really should be getting a bag from them for all the promotion I do for them, but the fact that they haven't sent me a cease and desist, that just keeps me happy. Next question. Their matcha's awful though. They do need to make it's ironic. My favorite smoothie from there, because people always ask me that, is the vanilla matcha smoothie. I love their vanilla matcha smoothie, but I hate their matcha. It's so weird. Their matcha's too earthy for me, which probably means it's too healthy, but you know, I digress. Can we make that? Status of the series party lines. Oh, look at that crossover. Thank you for asking. It's very close. It is very close to happening. Trying to think of what all I can say right now. We have rough cuts done of a bunch of the episodes. We are very close to locking in the final funding we need. I'm about to sign with a talent agency who wants to take this show and put it everywhere. So yeah, we have some really big stuff working on behind the scenes. I think that if we can get this out in time, we'll qualify for Emmys for the next year. I'm hoping we can qualify for the whatever the deadline is, like February 9th. So if I can get it out by then, that'd be great. If not, we'll be on the Emmys radar for the next season after that. But I really do think that we have an Emmy on our cards. It really explores the world. And for those who don't know, because I announced it on my other socials, I haven't really talked about it much on YouTube, but I created a reality show. It's like a docu-reality show about the world of political media personalities, left wing, right wing, and center. It follows us. It follows our drama. It shows just what this world looks like behind the scenes. Like, we are some of the most influential people, you know, when it comes to policy these days. A lot of people don't know that, like, a lot of Gen Z TikTokers who talk about politics, I mean, you see it with Nick Shirley. We're talking to Congress, we're talking to the cabinet, we're doing all this really cool stuff. So it's showing that world. Like, sometimes when we go viral, are we going viral for something good? Are we getting canceled? Are we getting dragged? Are we getting death threats? Are we getting love? It shows truly everything, what it's like behind the scenes in a way that's never been done before. It's very Vanderpump Rule / The Hills with a dose of House of Cards. And I think you guys are going to love it. It's coming soon. So thanks for asking. Next question. Ooh, chow. You got to make that full screen. That is so small. I got to really squint for this one. I'd love to hear your take on losing friends because of being vocal about your your political views and how you feel about it. Great question. I get this question a lot. And, you know, it's not just friends. Unfortunately for me, it was family as well. I have people in my family that absolutely hate me. I had people in my family initially that were saying that like I was a KKK member. They were saying that I was a Nazi. They were saying that I wasn't even allowed to come to a funeral of some years back when I first became a conservative. So I got a lot of hate there. A lot of them have apologized since because they realized how extreme they were being. But I do still have even a sibling that refuses to ever speak to me again and doesn't even want anybody in his family, like his immediate family, being, having interactions with me. So it definitely hurts. I'm not gonna lie. Like it doesn't feel good. But when it comes to friends, it's like if you were a real friend, you would be able to put aside the differences. I don't mind when my friends unfollow me. I have friends and family members who tell me that they can't follow me anymore because it's too much and they would rather keep me separate from what I'm saying online. I'm like, that's totally cool. Because in my day to day life, I'm not constantly talking about politics. My platform is my outlet for me to talk about politics. I'm only going to bring up politics if you ask me about politics more often than not. Or if I'm really trying to raise awareness for something, I will walk into a room and scream about it. But that's only here and there. But yeah, it's like it's a painful thing. I expected it to happen when I first became a conservative, which is actually crazy. I think tomorrow, if not today, I think tomorrow though is actually the anniversary wow, it just dawned on me. Tomorrow is the anniversary of the first video I ever made as a new conservative. And I built like a small platform of like a few thousand people as like a BLM activist before I started like talking about conservative content. And it was always just a hobby in the beginning. Like it was just like it was never me dedicating my life to it. It was just like I like to post about activism, record some of the BLM protests and things I was going to. And I was doing it before BLM even started popping like that. But I expected people to be upset. I expected people to be confused, but I expected more people to be willing to have a conversation with me because when I was a liberal, I had a lot of conservative friends. And we would laugh about things, we would get a little heated, and then we would just laugh it off and go get a beer. We would roast each other, tease each other, but like I would learn a little bit from them, they'd learn a little bit from me. We would have like friendly debates and then just go chill after. I thought that same energy was gonna be with my liberal friends once I became conservative, and it was nothing of the sort. I could probably count on one hand how many of my liberal friends didn't just completely lose their minds on me. And then now it's like some of my friends from back in the day, it's like I don't even know how they vote now. I don't know if they support my content or not. I just know they support me as an individual. And I think that's what's most important. One thing I will do is shout out to Dennis Prager. Because my father, just being so super honest with you guys, I mean, I talked about it on Dr. Phil. My dad and I didn't even talk for years after I started posting about left-leaning content. My dad has like some Marxist views. He's very left-leaning, very left-leaning. And the political discourse and everything got so heated, we just didn't talk for years. And it was actually the first time that I hung out, really got to have a long conversation in person with Dennis Prager, that he convinced me that I needed to visit my hometown for the first time in years so that I could try to mend some of the bridges with my father. And because of that, we have now gotten past it. We're not, I wouldn't say that we're like super close, but now it's like we enjoy seeing each other. We enjoy each other's company again. We don't talk about politics. It's not on the forefront of anybody's mind. So shout out to Dennis. I do think that there are certain relationships that are worth trying to heal, but don't bend over backwards for someone that is so emotional about politics that they refuse to see you as a human anymore. I feel like that's a bigger reflection on them than it is of you. And sometimes you having the audacity to, not be afraid of being canceled and understanding common sense, it holds up a giant mirror to them about their own insecurities. And I think that's where a lot of that's just going to end. So, yeah.
We got one final question coming out from the live. Hannah asked, has anyone read any Charlie Kirk books?
Has anyone read any Charlie Kirk books? I'm sure, I mean, obviously a lot of people have. I personally have not. I'll be honest. I need to get into Charlie Kirk's his library. I've listened to a lot of his show, but I've never actually read a book by Charlie, and I should. I was just given a gift of his most recent book that came out that is largely dedicated to Dennis Prager, funny enough. Um, where I believe it's Stop in the Name of God is what it's called. I have that book. It's the first Charlie Kirk book that I've owned. So I do need to read that. And I know obviously he's probably an incredible writer just because of how much I love his tweets and I love everything he has to say. But I'll be honest, I have not read one of his books yet, and that may need to change. Currently I'm about to read this book from PragerU, this new one that just came out about the presidents, and I am also reading through some of Dinesh D'Souza's book about socialism. Reading a few at one time, kind of like bouncing between based on whatever topics I'm really trying to research at the time. But I will add Charlie Kirk to that list. And is that the last question?
We're all good now.
All right. We're all done here today. Okay, cousins, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Respectfully, doing a nice little Q&A. Let me know if we should do more because I am so down to do more Q&As. I feel like this is a great way for us to interact. I think I'm also going to implement a way that we can do Q&A face to face. I just started working with this new platform that hasn't fully launched yet. It's in beta. It's called Gigaverse. So I think I'm going to start doing that so that way we can have some face to face conversations as well. It's basically like a big Zoom call. But let me know if you guys have more questions. You can still comment them on that post. I might be able to do a part 2, spin the block on it, or we can answer it after the show on one of our upcoming episodes. But y'all know the vibes. Like, share, comment, subscribe, give us 5 stars, and I will talk to you guys soon.